The curse of the basement. Shalim had never believed in ghosts. He always thought that horror stories were just exaggerations, meant to scare people. But everything changed when he decided to rent an old apartment in a building that had stood for decades in a forgotten part of the city. The rent was surprisingly cheap, and the place was in decent condition. However, there was one strange rule imposed by the landlord. Never go down to the basement. At first, Liam didn't care about the rule. He had no reason to go down there anyway, but curiosity has a way of creeping in, especially when something is forbidden. The more he thought about it, the more he wanted to see what was hidden in the basement. One evening, after returning from work, he noticed an old key on the kitchen table. He didn't remember putting it there. He picked it up, and to his surprise, it had the word basement engraved on it. His heart began to race. Had the landlord left it there by mistake? Or was it an invitation? The thought of discovering the secret behind the basement was too tempting to resist. He grabbed a flashlight and the key, then made his way to the locked door at the end of the hallway. With a deep breath, he inserted the key and turned it. The door creaked open, revealing a dark, narrow staircase leading downward. The air was thick with dust, and a damp, musty smell filled his nose as he descended. The basement was colder than he expected. The dim beam of his flashlight barely illuminated the surroundings, but he could make out old furniture, rusted tools, and shelves lined with strange objects covered in cobwebs. Then he saw it. At the far end of the basement stood a massive wooden chest, bound with iron chains. Its presence sent a chill down his spine. Who would go through the trouble of locking up something so securely? His hands trembled as he reached out to touch the chains, but before he could do anything, he heard a whisper. "Leave! Now!" He spun around, shining his flashlight in every direction. No one was there. A cold sweat broke out on his forehead. His rational mind told him it was just his imagination, but his instincts screamed at him to run. And yet, despite the fear gnawing at his gut, he couldn't turn back now. He had to see what was inside that chest. With shaking fingers, he started to undo the chains. The moment the last chain fell to the ground, the temperature in the room dropped sharply. The air became heavy, and an unnatural silence filled the space. Liam hesitated for a moment before slowly lifting the lid. A gust of icy wind burst forth from within, knocking him back. Inside the chest, there was nothing. Just darkness. A void so deep that it seemed to swallow the light of his flashlight. Then, something moved. A shadow slithered out of the chest, stretching and twisting as it took form. Two glowing red eyes opened within the darkness, locking onto him. A voice, deep and guttural, echoed in the basement. "You have freed me." Panic surged through Liam as he scrambled to his feet and bolted up the stairs. He slammed the basement door shut, locking it behind him. His breath came in ragged gasps as he pressed his ear against the wood. Silence. Just as he started to calm down, he heard the slow, deliberate creak of the basement door unlocking from the other side. Something was coming for him. From that night on, Liam was never alone. Shadows moved where they shouldn't. Whispers echoed in the silence, and every time he tried to leave the apartment, the door wouldn't budge. He had opened the basement, and now it would never let him go. Days passed, and Liam's mental state deteriorated. Every night, the whispers grew louder, and the shadows became more aggressive. He would wake up with scratches on his arms and legs, though he had locked his bedroom door before sleeping. Objects in his apartment moved on their own in his chair. His books, even his reflection in the mirror, seemed slightly wrong. Desperate, he contacted the landlord, an elderly man named Mr. Graves. When Liam mentioned the basement, the old man went silent. "You went down there, didn't you?" Mr. Graves' voice trembled. "You made a terrible mistake. What is it? What did I release?" Liam demanded. "A curse older than this building," the landlord replied. "It was locked away for a reason. That thing, it feeds on fear, on life itself. And now it has chosen you." Liam's blood turned cold. "How do I stop it?" Mr. Graves sighed heavily. "You can't. You can only contain it again. But the price is high." Liam didn't hesitate. "Tell me what I have to do." The landlord explained the ritual. Liam had to find an object of great personal value, spill his own blood onto it, and place it inside the chest while reciting an incantation. The entity would be drawn into the object, sealing it once more. That night, Liam prepared. He found an old pocket watch that had belonged to his late grandfather Tha, only family he had ever loved. With a deep breath, he made a shallow cut on his palm, letting the blood drip onto the watch. Then, he descended into the basement. The air was suffocating. The shadows twisted unnaturally. As he placed the watch inside the chest, he whispered the incantation Mr. Graves had given him. The entity screamed. The basement shook violently. The darkness coiled around him, resisting, fighting to stay free. Liam forced the lid shut, sealing the creature inside. The chains rattled and tightened on their own, locking the horror away once more. Silence returned. Liam staggered up the stairs, his vision swimming. The apartment door was open. He was free. He left that night and never looked back. But somewhere in the forgotten basement of an old building, the cursed chest still waits, bound in chains until another unfortunate soul dares to open it again.